Hi everyone, welcome to Great Yoga. My name is Nuria and today we're going to do a practice to release our hips. When we spend long periods of time sitting at our desk, that creates a lot of tension in our lower back and in our hips area. So today's practice is going to focus on regaining flexibility and mobility and also helping us release some of the frustration from the day. We're going to start by lying down on the mat. We're going to have our knees bent, our feet are going to be flat on the mat. We're going to bring our right foot on top of the left thigh. We're going to bring that left thigh close into the chest. We're going to interlace our fingers behind the thigh. And we're going to bring that thigh even closer into the chest. So here you're going to work to find whatever works best for you. You want to make sure you feel a bit of a stretch, but you don't want to hurt yourself. So the closer the thigh is into the chest, the deeper the stretch. The farther away it is, the softer the stretch. So find your space. If you want to go really deep, you're going to use your right elbow to open that right knee. While you do this, you're going to make sure that your shoulders are nice and relaxed, your shoulder blades are back and down, and they're both resting on the mat. And also your neck is resting on the mat. And your feet are flexed so that your legs remain active. Here you're going to focus on the breathing, inhaling and exhaling deeply through the nose, feeling that stretch of your right hip. Starting to wash away the stress from the day. From here, we're gonna release the hands. We're gonna bring both feet back flat on the mat, and now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So we're gonna bring that left foot on top of that right thigh. We're gonna bring that right thigh close into the chest, interlacing the fingers, holding the back of that right thigh. Again, finding the right space, how close or far away you want your thigh to be. If you want a deeper stretch, you're going to use your left elbow to open your left knee. We're going to make sure that both feet are flexed, that our shoulder blades are back and down, and they are resting on the mat, and that our neck is also nice and long and resting on the mat. Keep breathing, inhaling and exhaling deeply. And the yogic tradition considers that we store our emotions and frustrations in the hips, so really working on regaining that mobility and flexibility on the hips not only will help us with any lower back issues, but also it will help us remove any frustrations from the day. So that's what makes hip opening practices so lovely. Now from here, we're going to bring, again, both feet flat on the mat. We're going to roll to one side. We're going to push ourselves up and we're going to come back to sitting cross-legged. Now here, we're going to go into a further stretch of the hips. So I'm going to give you two different options. Option number one, we're going to place the outside of the right foot on the palm of the hand, and then with the right arm, we're going to grab the outside of the right shin. So this is option number one. If you want to go deeper, you're going to place that outside of the foot in the crease of the elbow, and you're going to grab the outside of the shin. You're going to sit tall, and here you're going to add a bit of rocking of that shin side to side, and you should be feeling that nice and gentle stretch and release of your right hip. Remember to sit tall, don't round your back. Keep breathing, inhaling and exhaling deeply through the nose. And now we're gonna release the right leg and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So whatever you did on the first side, you're gonna do the same on the second side. So if you did this version, go back to that. If you did the deeper version, go back to it. And again, we add the rocking side to side. Remember to sit tall. and start observing any differences between both sides. It would be very normal that one side feels tighter than the other. That's related to maybe one leg is stronger than the other, or maybe you tend to always cross one leg on top of the other. So just observe that, make a mental note. And if the difference is really big, you might really want to think of what habits you have that might be driving that, and maybe setting an intention to try to change that. Keep breathing. And now here, we're gonna release that foot, and we're gonna come into all fours. So on all fours, first thing we're gonna do is check alignment. So we're gonna make sure that the wrists are right under the shoulders, that the knees are right under the hips, the fingers are really well spread, the toes are tucked under, and we're gonna start with a sequence of cat-cow. So we push the pelvis out, we arch the spine, we push the chest forward through the shoulders, and we look forward and down. Now we release the toes, we tuck the pelvis under, we round the spine, we look into the belly button, starting again with the feet, tucking the toes under, pushing the pelvis out, arching the spine, pushing the chest forward through the shoulders, looking forward and down, releasing the toes, tucking the pelvis under, rounding the spine, looking into the belly button, and we start the circle again. Tucking the toes under, pushing the pelvis out, arching the spine, pushing the chest forward through the shoulders, releasing the toes, tucking the pelvis under, rounding the spine, and looking into the belly button. In the next inhale, we're gonna come to a neutral spine, and from here, we tuck the toes under, and we go straight into downward facing dog. Here, we're gonna first adjust our dog, making sure that our feet are hip width apart, that our fingers are really well spread, our neck is nice and long, making sure that we can say yes and no with the neck, really pushing through the hands, making our spine as long as possible. Now from here, we're gonna look at the space between the hands, and we're gonna bring that right knee right behind the right wrist. We're gonna rest the foot on the mat. We're gonna walk the back foot back, and we're gonna rest the knee on the mat. From here, we're gonna make tripod fingers, and we're gonna stand tall. We're gonna feel a nice stretch of the lower back. This is swan pose. And here really our heel is right next to the groin. Breathing here, making your spine tall and long. Your neck is long. Your chin is slightly tucked in so that the back of the neck is as long as possible. We are here working on both releasing and strengthening that lower back. Couple more breaths. Now we're gonna bring the palms flat on the mat. We're gonna tuck the toes of the back foot, and we're gonna come back into a downward facing dog. And give ourselves a nice stretch, and now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So we're gonna bring that left knee right behind the left wrist. We're gonna bring the shin to the mat. We're gonna walk the back foot, bringing the back knee to the mat, releasing the toes, making tripod fingers, and coming to that long spine, stretching and strengthening the lower back. Keep breathing deeply, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Here we are in our swan pose. Couple more deep breaths. Now we're gonna bring our palms back flat on the mat. We're gonna tuck the back toes under, push our hips up, and coming back to downward facing dog. From here, we're gonna look at the space between the hands, and either through one big step, we're gonna bring that right foot outside of the right hand, or if that feels like too much, we're gonna do it in 2 steps. So 1 step to the middle of the mat, and then we're gonna help ourselves by grabbing our ankle and bringing it forward. Here we are. Once we get here, we're gonna bring the back knee down, release the toes. You might even wanna walk that knee slightly back if you have some space. Here, we're gonna open the front knee, and we're gonna be resting on the side of the foot. So here we are on lizard pose. We can stay here if that's enough of a stretch. If you wanna go deeper, you're gonna bring your forearms all the way down into the mat. You're gonna breathe deeply, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Letting go of any frustration from today. Tuning in with your breath. Letting your breath wash everything away. Now on your next inhale, you're gonna bring your palms back to the mat. You're gonna tuck your back toes under. You're gonna straighten your knee, and you're gonna come back into downward facing dog. From here, again, we're gonna look at the space between the hands, and either on 1 big step or on 2 steps, we're gonna bring that left foot outside of the left hand. So if it's 2 steps, 1 to the middle of the mat, and then we're gonna help ourselves by grabbing the ankle and bringing it forward. We're gonna bring the back knee down. You can walk that back foot slightly back. And now again, we're gonna open that knee. We're gonna be resting the foot on the outer side. And we're gonna either stay here on our palms, or we're gonna bring our forearms all the way down to the mat. We're gonna breathe here deeply, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Letting go of any frustration, washing the day away. Focusing on our breath. Just being here, forgetting about what happened today or what is yet to come. A couple more deep breaths. And then on the next inhale, we're gonna look up. We're gonna bring the palms back flat on the mat. Tuck the back toes under. Come all the way back to our downward facing dog. We adjust our downward facing dog. We really push through the hands, make the spine as long as possible. And now from here, we're gonna again look at the space between the hands. We're gonna bring our right knee behind the right wrist. We're gonna rest the shin on the mat. We're gonna walk the back foot back, bringing that back knee down into the mat. And now here, differently to swan pose, what we're gonna try and do is make this shin as parallel as possible to the front of the mat. And do this with caution. This is the intention of the pose, but it's definitely, of the pose, sorry, but it's definitely very challenging. So whatever space you find that works for you and that gives you a nice deeper stretch of your hip, that's the right place to be. And now from here, we're gonna either just rest here on the palms, or we're gonna come into our forearms, or if you want an even deeper stretch, you're gonna bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. And now we're gonna rest here. This is pigeon pose. This is the most intense hip opener we're doing today. So really connect with your breath. Inhale and exhale deeply. Be patient, and you will feel how, by focusing on your breath, you will slowly find more space in your right hip. One last deep breath. And then on the next inhale, we're going to come back to placing the palms on the mat. We're going to tuck the toes of the back foot under. We're going to push our hips up, come back into downward facing dog. Another nice stretch of the spine. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to start by looking at the space between the hands, bringing the left knee behind the left wrist, bringing that shin down into the mat, walking the back foot back, resting that back knee on the mat. And now whatever you did on the first side, you're gonna do on the second side. Before you do that though, you're gonna go and make that shin parallel to the front of the mat as much as you can, finding that space that works for you. And then from here, either resting on the palms, going down to the forearms, or going all the way down to rest on your forehead. Remember, you're going to do the same thing you did on the first side. We want to encourage symmetry in the body. Deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And feeling that nice stretch on your left hip. Feeling how your breath really washes away any frustration from today. Enjoying this moment to focus inwards, forgetting about whatever happened today and whatever is coming next. Keep breathing deeply. And then on the next inhale, we're going to bring our palms back on the mat. We're going to push our hips back up, coming into downward facing dog. A very last stretch, really pushing through your hands, trying to bring your chest to your thighs. One last nice deep breath and release. And then from here, we're going to rest our knees on the mat. We're going to bring our feet together. We're going to open the knees. We're going to bring our hips to the heels, resting the forehead on the mat, arms either side of the body. Here we are in child's pose. Great pose to release our lower back and continue calming our nervous system. Couple more deep breaths here. And then on the next inhale, you're gonna push yourself up, coming back to sitting cross-legged. Place your palms on your knees, facing down, and I want you to observe how your body feels, how it feels differently to when we started. Hopefully you find more space in your hips, and sitting cross-legged, it's much more comfortable. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more happy and healthy yoga. If you have any suggestion of any content you would like me to create, please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.